Again and again the Meyer source stresses the importance of telling the harsh truth, because only this will bring the irrational earth human to reason and bring him to a point where he must honestly find the answers himself, rather than take on comforting philosophies without the inner processing required to truly understand and become strong. O.M. The Book of Truth, produced by Meyer in cooperation with Ishwishpatha, says that the word of truth is hard and would be delivered in hard expressions and in hard language through the prophets. Words of truth are not insinuating, sweet, promising, enticing or oily. To those who need to hear them, the words of truth are upsetting and pointed, exposing everything as it corresponds to the truth. As Guido Moosbrugger says in his very informative book about the Meyer case, and still they fly, the necessary clarity cannot be accomplished any other way. Aggressive language is needed to loosen the compacted soil so that new seeds can sprout up. The following is an excerpt from Explanations about Earth Humanity as recorded by Billy Meyer in 1975 in the book Arhat Atharsada. This excerpt and translation has been taken from the FIGU publication, Life in the Spiritual and Physical. Where nature exists by the creative laws and commandments, untouched by human hand, and untouched accomplishes its existence, there reigns absolute and perfect beauty, strength, dignity, and harmonious greatness without any hierarchy. However, wherever there are traces of human intervention, deliberate logical order and corrections become visible, and all beauty, strength, dignity, order, and greatness disappear. Harmony is destroyed, changed, and made impossible. Nature then becomes, unintentionally, a witness to the lack of reason and the lack of judgment of the earthling, who likes to call himself the crown of creation. As a self-appointed crown of creation, man lives in his delusion, unaware of the fact that he has put on a crown of which he is unworthy. The crown in question is far too large for him and he cannot wear it, for it threatens to crush him under its weight. Truly the earthling has developed and, splendidly advanced, to the turning point of the approaching year 2000. He has taken himself to the brink of a deep abyss and placed himself before the fangs of the beast of lunacy, driven by false doctrines and religious cults of malicious degeneration, which brought forth hatred, greed, vice, misery, lust, and bloodshed. He, the earthling, self-appointed, crown of creation, who rules or wants to rule the world and the universe, who has conquered the air, water and fire, has long ago forgotten how to be a true and sincere human being, and how to think, act, and live by pure spiritual standards. Hence he has essentially forgotten how to live as a valuable person in communion with other persons. All his forms strive for pure material and materialistic objects and concerns, and he badly disregards all matters of the spirit, progress, love, truth, knowledge, logic, and wisdom. This is just a small portion of a message, given Meyer by the spirit form which is really nameless, but introduces itself by the Sanskrit name Arhat Atharsada, which is beyond time and space, and which is recorded in OM and in the book Arhat Atharsada as having also advised past prophets. The Arhat Atharsada delivers this important book a message to the earthly humanity explaining circumstances of the human condition in regard to religion, politics and sciences and so forth, with strident admonitions that the message never be falsified again. Some of it, including the above excerpt, has been printed in the English language booklet Life in the Spiritual and Physical, which is therefore required reading for any sincere seekers. You may ask, how do we determine that this highly evolved spirit form isn't just another dreamed-up New Age spirit guide? I can reiterate that this source repeatedly stresses the necessity for people to, through their own efforts, using reasonable logic, come to their own conclusion. We can always begin by considering what fruits would come from this message, were it judged to be true by earth humanity and acted on, and, Of course, how the message corresponds to truth. Above all, as already mentioned, we are not asked to accept it through belief, rather to come to our decision through our own thinking and reasoning. In the book Arhat Atharsaga, the We Form explains that part of Earth humanity remains lying on an evolution-restricting, low-measure grade of consciousness, while the other part degenerates. Only a few forms try to develop themselves forward, but they come up against religious and political restrictions, through which they are confused and stopped. It says, egoism, in its crassest form, is the strongest motivation of all human thoughts and actions, and yet, mankind is too cowardly to become aware of this fact or to admit it to themselves, even secretly. Due to the earthling's lack of courage to face the truth, and his distorted lifestyle of degenerate hypocrisy, human beings fail to understand each other. Every human being lives secluded from others, deceiving and condemning himself, while, at the same time, begrudging his fellow men each breath of air. This excerpt and translation is also included in a booklet, Life and the Spiritual and Physical. A still more evolved spirit form who has also instructed past prophets, and who now instructs the prophet of the new time, is known to us by the name Petdale. In the remarkable 1975 book Decalogue, Resp. Decalogue, described as the re-delivery of the 12 Commandments with explanations, in their unfalsified form, this We Form explains the following. Humans of Earth, you are neither better nor worse than other life forms. You are, however, much more misled than any other life form known to us. This predicament simply stems from the unworthiness of your unreal and irrational religious cults whose equal cannot be found on any other level or universe known to us. This state neither springs from depravity nor viciousness on your part. You have been misled for specific dishonest reasons, and thus you have fallen prey to exploitation, spiritual deprivation of the consciousness, and enslavement. This is not due to wickedness or maliciousness on your part, because, out of certain unexplained as at 1975 grounds, you have been wrongly led, which has caused you to fall to exploitation, spiritual poverty and consciousness poverty, and to slavery. It would be wrong to reproach you and hold you to blame for this resulting ruin and corruption. Yet you must be conscious that you rush towards further corruption and ruin if you do not turn away from these false cult religions that are maliciously strained from the truth. You have, as of 1975, really not yet wandered into ruin, but you're on the way to it. As you don't live in the values of true knowledge but in wrong belief in cult religions, your present state is ignorance, error, unreality, and lack of wisdom. Cultish religions, belief in a god, gods, false deities, saints, holy pictures, icons, ideals altogether embody the evilest signpost to the street to ruin and to spiritual and consciousness darkness. Religions and sects are like the poison of scorpions which robs the human of his consciousness, or kills him. The wise and knowing push back the scorpion, but the weak sense grasps it with a bare hand.